And hi, everyone there. I'm sorry for not being physically presented for the pre-conference. And the title of my presentation is Memories of City and Cities of Memory, from Cinematic Representation to Tourist Gaze on TikTok. This is the outline of my presentation. It's not a completed project, but only preliminary ideas about the interconnection or intersection between city and collective memory. Let me start by discussing two cities, Nanjing and Hiroshima. As you well know, that both cities have traumatic pasts. What would happen if we search these two cities on TikTok? This is what we got. Here are the search results for Nanjing. As you might have noticed, I use VPN to connect to TikTok because this is the only way for you to access TikTok in mainland China. And here are the first two search results and further search results. As you can see, both video clips are related to the Nanjing massacre. On the right side, you can see a video clip interviewing the survivor Xia Shuqin. And then on the right side, you see the 10th National Memorial Day taking place on December 13th, 2023. Now we turn to Hiroshima. On the left side, this is the most famous structure, as you may know, surviving the bombing, the atomic bomb dome, which is part of the Peace Memorial Museum right now, and also part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. And then it continues with some conspiracy. There's also a video clip with disturbing images. You need to click in order for you to access the video. So I want to show you what are the contents of the video clip. As you can see from this trial search, for both Nanjing and Hiroshima, the past is still highly visible. The tourist gaze on TikTok, therefore, could be considered as an indicator of a city, as a city of memory. But what do we mean by city of memory? What is the connection between city and collective memory? Why should we look at city, look at urban changes from the perspective of collective memory? Probably one of the most famous paragraphs ever written on the subject comes from Calvino, who says in Invisible Cities that as this wave from memories flows in, the city soaks it up like a sponge and expands. For Calvino, the city does not tell its past, but contains it in all kinds of mundane details. But if we move beyond and look at the subject from a social scientific perspective, urban spaces, city cultures, and collective memories emerge as the most crucial concepts. And memory plays a key role in the production of urban space in relation to different agendas. And here I quote, "Urban memories can be leveraged for development, used as a basis for political mobilization, and model the daily social, spatial practices and lived experiences of citizens." As urban changes take place at both macro, meso, and micro levels, we can also investigate the working of collective memory from above, from the middle, and from below. First, of course, there's always tension between the so-called growth machine development efforts and established local communities. As you can see from the sheer contrast between the modern city skyline and the Shikumen neighborhood in Shanghai. Second, we can also look at particular districts with its distinct histories and past. Zogin, for instance, explored how artist enclaves can be transformed into arts districts based on the logic of consumption and also based on the logic of community building. Shanghai offers a contrasting example, of course. This is a recent controversy surrounding the demolishment of the Western Band Artists Center, Xi'an 艺术中心. So it was teared down in recent weeks. And this is artwork protesting the tear down of this whole district. And due to time limit, I'm going to skip a really local debate about what was happening right now in the neighborhood of Fudan University, where Fudan University is located. I'm going to skip this one. So basically, it's about the the transformation of a food market into a fancy, modern, so-called innovative community. Of course, memory from the above does not necessarily mean destroying the past. It also refers to strategically mobilizing the past to renew the city and its identity. And this is clearly manifested in Lego's Berlin cityscape. You can see two pieces of Berlin Wall in the left corner of the whole architecture. And also in the Legoland in Berlin, you only need to press a button, then it will start the whole process of reenacting the fall of the Berlin Wall. Memory from the middle and from below involves actors other than city government and developer and real estate interests. So as for memory from below, the first set for potential mobilization and social movement is so-called state spaces. As we know, this kind of spaces present a governing ideology and official history, but it remains open to multiple interpretations and creative appropriations. As we all know, the National Mall in Washington served as a civic stage, but also attracted the Tea Party members. That's the funny part, a tricky part of this. This clearly shows that the malleability of collective memories and the spaces that contain them. Then you have subaltern spaces and so-called global streets. Global street, I'm sorry, I don't have much time to, I'm gonna skip all those discussions. But moving beyond the mobilization and the social movement, there are other civic and artistic attempts to make cities of memory. I would like to introduce two of them. The first one is called City of Memory. It was a participatory dynamic story map of New York City. On the map, all those red dots represent stories curated by the Cultural Heritage Institution, City Law, while all other blue dots represent stories told and uploaded by ordinary users. According to its official introduction, City of Memory creates a web of interlocking memories. Chronicling the city's inner life, place-based, it links stories and memories in ways that cut across chronology, sparking connections, and enabling visitors to rediscover the city through the memories of others. Sadly, this story map is no longer available, which clearly indicates the precarity of digital memory. The second one is called Cities and Memory. It's a global collaborative sound art and field recording program to remix the world one sound at a time. This is the sound map of London, and this is the sound map of Venice. And Taoran talked about the railway system in Europe in the last session, and this is an interactive sound map of London Underground. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, this project also called for artists to contribute to stay-home sounds. In the last section of my presentation, I would like to use Wuhan to discuss the possibility of a city of COVID memories. I will use 3 documentaries made by different agencies, different people, to show the similarities and difference in terms of making a city of COVID memories. The first is a documentary made by CDTN in late February 2020. It's called The Lockdown 1 Month in Wuhan. Of course, we don't have time to show the documentary in full, but I'm going to show you the opening scenes of this documentary. See some of the young monks.
今天早上我是看到整个武汉市都公交车、地铁全部封城了。
当前要继续集中力量抓好湖北省，尤其是武汉市疫情防控。
害怕，说不害怕是假的。
然后一量那个体温37.5度，我说完蛋了。
不要以为武汉人都犯病了。
生命太脆弱。
我来了，我一定要活着出去。
这2天，来自上海、浙江、海南、江西的医疗队先后出发。
and also early landing in the pandemic. Let's move to the second one. It's a documentary made by a Japanese director. I don't know how to pronounce his name in Japanese, of course. It's called 竹内亮 in Chinese. The title of the documentary is Long Time No See, Wuhan. This is also the opening scenes of the
1月23日、武漢がロックダウンされた。
It's narrated in
路上には
Japanese.
車がまばらに走っている。1月24日、まだ車は走っている。1月29日、車も人もほぼ見えなくなった。彼女は中学校の教師。武漢がロックダウンされてから今日まで
In the
日
documentary,
々ドローンで武漢の景色を撮り
retold
続けた。
the stories of 10 people
4月
living
8日、
in
ロックダウン
Wuhan,
解
the
除
whole。process and
人が
surviving the whole
徐々に
process.
外に出始
We move on to the last one by a vlogger on Bilibili, Chinese short video platform. It's called 24 Hours After the Lockdown. It was presumably the first videos showing the scenes of Wuhan after the lockdown. And the videos I think was watched for 9 million or even 10 million times. And this is opening scenes of this documentary. You see Wuhan 加油 in follow from all.
Widely 你要跟姐姐说，反正妈妈已经看到你们了。因为是这样的特殊情况，你们就不要回来了。
就各自
period of the pandemic. And there are many others, of course. But if you compare the representations of Wuhan and the pandemic in these three documentaries, they are not that different. The master narrative is a city of heroes. This phrase first came from Zhong Nanshan. He made the remarks during an interview in late January 2020. Later, it was picked up by Xinhua News Agency and became the title of its documentary called A City of Heroes. You can watch the documentary on YouTube, but not on Bilibili. I don't know why. Then it became the subject of the light show. And on the right side, you see 英雄的城市,英雄的人民. So what place, people, and voice were missing from the recent past? Let me conclude with one paragraph from Boyer's The City of Collective Memory. The public realm of city of collective memory should entail a continuous topography, a spatial structure that covers both rich and poor places. And it should include places for public assemblage and public debate, as well as private memory walks and personal retreats. My time is up, so I'll stop here. Thank you.